Figures from Portsmouth City Council's City Development Annual Monitoring Report for 2014-15 show that 726 homes were completed in the year 2009-10, but the figures each year since then have been considerably less, with only 236 homes completed in 2013-14. But the following year, 419 homes were completed. The city's Cabinet Member for Planning, Regeneration and Economic Development sees this as good news.
It's a sign of a strengthening economy, that the level of house building has gone up. It's a sign of confidence in the city. Most of the development we see in the city is in the private sector. There is a measure of affordable housing that's actually gone quite well this last year at 45%. Most of that, again, it's still paid for by the private sector as an obligation for planning, so that when you build a large scheme you have to provide a certain amount of affordable housing. So the council itself is starting work on a few units of its own now. It's got a scheme going up at Arthur Pope House now, which I think is about 30 units, which will be council development.
Portsmouth City Council's planning policies contribute towards regenerating the city with the intention to offer homes for everyone. They report the levels of growth needed to help satisfy the demands of a growing population are in the region of 420 to 490 homes per year up to 2027. But although there were more houses built in 2014-15 than in the previous 5 years, the city is still 356 houses short of its 9-year target.
Yeah, we are, and we've clearly been affected by the recession, particularly when you've got big flatted schemes, when you have to have confidence in order to start those, and that was missing for many years. Over the years, the council's house building target's about 550, so we've actually been coming in shy of that for a number of years. But when we've got sites coming forward in Tipner and Port Solent that we will have over the medium term, we'll make that number up, so we're roughly on target for this year.
High levels of housing growth also rely on the provision of infrastructure, such as sustainable transport routes.
One of the biggest problems for the council actually is about school capacity, and we are spending a lot of money. We'll be creating over the next 5 years or so 1,000 extra secondary school places. So a lot of money is going into infrastructure. People don't always see it, but it is. A lot of money is also going into flood defences, which will make more areas of the city developable and protect the housing that's already there. And there are various schemes potentially in the pipeline, submissions to the local enterprise partnership about improving transport.
With populous changes on the horizon to Britain, how set in stone are the future plans for housing in Portsmouth?
There's lots of things that affect the numbers in all sorts of directions, and yes, it is affected by the level of household formation, by the level of population growth, and I think across the country there is going to be pressure to increase housing numbers, partly because during the recession there are 1 million properties which we had a need for which didn't get built because the recession knocked out so much of the industry for 5 or 6 years. Yeah, it's always going to be a difficulty in Portsmouth. We don't have a lot of land, so we do recognise that most of what's going to come forward will be in the form of flats, but there are policies in there to encourage 3-bedroom units so that families have a place to live in the city.
This is Shan Robins for That's Solent.